is that way.
It's part of your good breakfast and tastes.
I know, great! Sit down to breakfast with Tony.
One TV show was so bad a station yanked it off the air mid-episode and played organ music instead. Another starred a man's dead mother.
Hey, down! I said keep it down!
Yes, sir, keep it down.
Reincarnated as a car. Both are coming. These are the 20 weirdest shows of the 60s and 70s that should never have existed.
No, you're fighting me. You're fighting me.
Count how many you remember as we go, and be honest in the comments. More than 5? You didn't watch this era. You survived it. Starting at 20.
Good morning, America. Come join us for breakfast. Hot cakes and sausage, our own Egg McMuffin, lots of Danish pastries. Try 'em.
At McDonald's.
The Fantastic Journey, 1977. A group of travelers sails into the Bermuda Triangle and gets dumped into a fog-bound island where every zone is a different reality.
Don't you understand what that means?
Different century, different rules, different way to die. There's a kid, a doctor, and a man from the future named Varian who can manipulate time with a little tuning fork. On paper, it's the most respectable idea on this entire list, which is exactly why it lasted 10 episodes and vanished. It committed the one unforgivable sin of 70s genre TV. It was too sensible to be weird and too weird to be safe.
No. Miss?
NBC didn't know whether they'd bought science fiction or a travelogue, so they did what networks always did with anything confusing. They buried it on a bad night and let it die quietly. And then they reached for something much harder to kill, because you cannot cancel a man's dream.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's very big fun.
Big fluffy bun.
It's a very big fluffy fun.
At Wendy's, we serve a ham modestly called a single, and Wendy's single has more beef.
Salvage 1, 1979. Picture Andy Griffith, yes, Sheriff Taylor himself, the most trustworthy face in America, playing a junkyard owner who decides he's going to build a rocket ship out of scrap metal in his salvage yard and fly to the moon. Why? To collect the equipment NASA left up there during Apollo and sell it back on Earth. That's the whole show.
I want to build a spaceship, go to the moon, salvage all the junk that's up there, bring it back, sell it.
A folksy junk dealer, a homemade spacecraft welded together from garbage, and a one-way ticket to lunar profiteering. The maddening part is that Salvage 1 played it completely straight.
Hover machine, 16.
Ha! Well, then it's a hover machine.
Are you sure?
It wanted you to believe. And for a few episodes, sitting on your living room floor, you kinda did. Because if anyone could con you into thinking a scrapyard rocket might fly, it was Andy Griffith. But earnest insanity wasn't the worst science fiction crime of the decade. Number 18 took a perfectly good movie and strapped it to an android.
What is it?
I've no idea. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Logan's Run, 1977. The film was a hit, a slick dystopia where nobody's allowed to live past 30 and runners flee for their lives.
There, you see? It's the thought turned into reality, the dream come true.
So naturally, the studio stretched a tight, finished story into a weekly series and saddled their hero with a robot sidekick named Rem, a clunky, philosophizing android with all the charisma of a talking refrigerator. 14 episodes. The premise that worked as a clenched 2-hour sprint became a slow weekly jog to nowhere.
He also saved our lives. Maybe for his own purposes, but we are alive. We can't just leave him to die.
Padded with Rem explaining his feelings. It was a disaster. But it wasn't the disaster, the famous one, the cautionary tale they still tell in film schools. For that,
In the city of domes, you must die when you reach 30. We didn't want to die, so we ran.
you have to meet the science fiction legend who got so disgusted with his own show that he erased his own name from it.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball. And action. Jack.
Sometimes you eat more than you should. Mamma mia, do you need Alka-Seltzer? Alka-Seltzer can help unstuff you.
Spicy meatball. Cut. Okay.
The Star Lost, 1973. Harlan Ellison, one of the greatest science fiction writers who ever lived,
We could never learn enough on our own to get the Ark back on course. We don't even know how to steer.
dreamed up something genuinely brilliant. A colossal generation ship drifting through space, packed with self-contained biospheres, each one holding people who've completely forgotten they're even on a ship.
Can I be of assistance?
Until one young man stumbles past the edge of his world and discovers the truth. The vessel is damaged, off course, and headed straight into a star. It should have been a masterpiece. Instead, the budget collapsed, the revolutionary special effects system failed on set, and producers who didn't understand the genre rewrote his scripts into mush. Ellison was so horrified he took his name off the show entirely and replaced it with a pseudonym.
We saw them in the garden through the window.
Cordwainer Bird, his personal signal to the world that a project had been butchered. The Starlost is remembered today not for a single episode anyone enjoyed, but as the all-time warning of what happens when a stellar idea collapses into a black hole of network meddling. At least it had ambitions. Number 16 just had a man who swam funny.
Second cabin, please.
Second-class citizen. Which is why, when you get on a Southern jet,
Hi, Mr. Gill. Sit anywhere you like.
one class of service and it isn't second.
Man from Atlantis, 1977. Before Patrick Duffy struck oil on Dallas, he washed up on a beach with webbed hands, gills, and no memory of who he was. The last survivor of Atlantis.
Elizabeth, 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 Elizabeth. I can hear you, Elizabeth.
Recruited by an ocean research foundation to investigate underwater mysteries. The signature move, the thing every kid on the block imitated in the pool that summer, was the swim.
I think it would be best if you made your request to Mark himself.
Duffy refused to do a normal stroke. He invented a sideways, undulating, dolphin-style ripple that he performed himself. Arms pinned, body wriggling like a man being electrocuted in slow motion. 13 episodes. Then he traded the flippers for a cowboy hat and never looked back. But while he was swimming sideways, an entire network was trying something even more confusing, airing 3 shows at once.
It's a cornfield. Kellogg's toasts corn to golden flakes and adds a secret frosting. It's part of your good breakfast and tastes.
I know, great! Sit down to breakfast with Tony.
Cliffhangers, 1979. Somebody at NBC had a genius idea. Instead of 1 show, why not 3? Crammed into a single hour, each one a revival of those old-timey movie serials, ending every week on a literal cliffhanger.
But you can rest assured that she is perfectly secure here.
I don't want to sound patronizing.
So 1 hour gave you a 1930s style adventure, a science fiction serial, and The Curse of Dracula, all chopped into 20-minute chunks and stacked back to back. The intended effect was breathless suspense. The actual effect was that nobody on Earth could follow any of it. You just get invested in Dracula when, sorry, time's up, here come the spies. It was 3 good ideas competing to strangle each other inside 1 time slot. Gone fast. 3 stories was too many. But what about 1 captain in space in charge of the galaxy's garbage? Quark, 1977. This one's beloved, and you'll see why. Buck Henry, the comedy mind behind Get Smart, looked at the Star Wars and Star Trek boom and asked the question nobody else dared. Somebody has to take out the trash in space.
We wait for the bee.
Who's that guy? That guy is Captain Adam Quark, commander of an interstellar garbage scow hauling cosmic waste with the most dysfunctional crew in the galaxy. 2 identical clone women who despise each other, a plant man science officer with no emotions, a being who switches between male and female, and a robot perpetually on the edge of a nervous breakdown. It was a Star Trek spoof years before spoofing sci-fi was even a thing, and it was genuinely, lovingly bizarre. 8 episodes, instant cult legend. Quark was weird on purpose. Number 13 was weird by accident, and it confused an entire generation about who really owned a famous name.
Chocolate chips have a magical way.
That's making things better.
Magic, you know.
We did.
With the magic of pop and fresh dough.
The Ghostbusters, 1975. Stop me if this sounds familiar. A team of bumbling investigators chases ghosts for a living. Now subtract every special effect, set it on Saturday morning, and add, this is the important part, a gorilla in a hat.
You bring it up from the diaphragm, up into the chest cavity, see? Loose here in the throat, and then right out the mouth, and project. Now let me hear it. No. You're fighting me. You're fighting me.
Years before Bill Murray ever strapped on a proton pack, this live-action kids show gave us two slapstick detectives and their sidekick. An actual gorilla named Tracy, dressed in human clothes, who carried the ghost hunting gear. They got their assignments from a self-destructing tape recorder and chased the ghosts of Dracula and Billy the Kid through fog machines and pratfalls. When the famous movie arrived in the 80s, the studio had to license the name from these guys, leaving a generation of kids permanently confused about which Ghostbusters came first. This one did, with the gorilla.
Permit me to introduce myself. I am the cow.
Now buckle up, because we're leaving the spaceships and the gorillas behind and walking straight into the world of robot romance, starting with the most beautiful machine on television.
You make this shot, you can have anything you want for dinner.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, Mom.
You got it, superstar.
Kids love Kentucky Fried Chicken, just like other folks.
My Living Doll, 1964. Julie Newmar, the original Catwoman, 6 feet of impossible glamour, played a gorgeous android named Rhoda, and the premise was about as 1964 as it gets.
I'm afraid you may have made a mistake. You probably want the doctor down the hall. Or did you overshoot the showers?
A psychologist takes the robot into his apartment to teach her how to behave like a perfect woman, meaning quiet, obedient, and agreeable. The show is aged like milk in the sun, and there's a strange poetry to its fate. Half the episodes are simply gone, lost to time, the tapes wiped or junked. The perfect woman the network built has mostly dissolved into static.
Why don't you steal from somebody your own size?
A robot you're trying to make more human is one thing. But what about a human trying and failing to become a superhero?
Now it isn't even there long enough to get warm.
There's one bargain left in town.
Campbell's Soups. Try chicken with rice. Best parts of the chicken, fluffy rice, and 2 chicken stocks for extra flavor.
Sit right down and get your Campbell's worth.
Mother always told me, sit up straight, eat all your vegetables, and stay out of small foreign cars. But Joey, Mother never told me about Ultra Bright.
We'll tell you. Ultra Bright has more whitener than any leading toothpaste.
Captain Nice, 1967. A timid, mother-dominated chemist invents a serum that turns him into a superpowered crime fighter.
Worry not. By taking one pill, he becomes the strongest man on Earth, able to soar through the air under his own power.
The catch, he's terrified of heights, hates violence, and is a deeply reluctant, nervous, frankly incompetent hero who has to be nagged into saving anyone. Here's the fact that makes it legendary. At the exact same time, on a rival network, a nearly identical show aired, Mr. Terrific, about another bumbling, accidental superhero. 2 networks independently decided America wanted to watch a coward in a cape, scheduled them against each other, and watched them both die within months. It's one of the strangest coincidences in TV history. 2 channels reading the same bad idea off the same invisible page. Okay, we're halfway down. If you've been counting, this is where you find out whether you're a casual or a true survivor. And I'll warn you now, every single show from here on is stranger than everything you've just seen. The Flying Nun is coming. The chimpanzee trucker is coming. And the worst idea in television history is waiting at number 1. Let's keep going, with a man who's somehow the same age as his own grandson.
Well, just make your food fresh
At Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Can you feel your taste buds tingle? Taco Bell, Taco Bell. Taco Bell. 'Cause we're the fresh food place. Taco Bell.
The second 100 years, 1967. A gold prospector gets frozen in a glacier in the year 1900 and thaws out.
Well, just help out whenever it's necessary.
Oh, yes, sir. You can count on me.
Hey, down! I said keep it down!
Yes, sir. Keep it down.
Perfectly preserved in the 1960s, still looking exactly 33 years old, which creates a beautiful problem. He's now the same age as his own grandson. To sell it, one actor played both men.
And when he gets sore,
he develops those little symptoms that you can't put your finger on.
Grandfather and grandson, identical faces, 2 generations apart, sharing a house and quietly losing their minds. A frozen man learning about freeways and television while his grandson tries to explain the modern world to a guy his own age. Frozen in Time is a solid hook, but number 9 did one better. It froze its astronauts in the wrong time, then changed its mind about the whole show halfway through.
He likes it! Hey, Mikey!
When you bring life home, don't tell the kids it's one of those nutritional cereals you've been trying to get them to eat.
It's About Time, 1966. 2 astronauts break the time barrier and crash land in the prehistoric past.
Mac?
Hector.
Heck. Father Gronk? Mother Shag.
Hello. Hi there.
Where they befriend a family of cavemen. Standard fish out of water comedy. Rockets meet rocks. Except the ratings sagged, and rather than cancel it, the producers did something almost unheard of. They flipped the entire premise mid-season.
Boss say you want to kill. Where you come from?
Suddenly, the astronauts fixed their ship, flew home, and brought the cavemen back with them to modern Los Angeles. So the back half of the show is a prehistoric family loose in a 1966 apartment. They didn't fix the show, they just dragged the weirdness from one era to another and hoped nobody noticed. Everybody noticed. Now.
Yeah, come on. It's all right. Friendly. See?
Shake hands.
You knew she was coming. The single most famous What Were They Thinking hit of the entire decade, and the only mega hit on this list. The Flying Nun, 1967. Sally Field, beloved, wholesome, America's sweetheart.
It broke down, so it's also vulnerable. Whatever that means.
As a 90-pound nun whose enormous starched cornet catches the wind so perfectly that she literally takes off and flies. Over rooftops, through storms, across the convent. That's the actual concept. The physics were explained in the pilot with a straight face. When lift exceeds load, objects fly. And Sister Bertrill weighed almost nothing under a giant winged hat. So she soared.
Sounds like our old station wagon.
Maybe somebody's stealing it.
And here's the part that breaks your brain. It was a hit. It ran for years. Millions of people tuned in every week to watch a tiny nun get blown around like a kite and loved it. It is, to this day, completely indefensible as a concept and undeniable as a phenomenon. A nun who flies is absurd, but a married couple permanently trapped in each other's bodies? That's a curse. Turnabout, 1979. A husband and wife, bickering over whose life is harder, make the mistake of wishing on a cursed African statue in their bedroom. Overnight, the statue grants the wish in the most hostile way possible. It swaps their minds into each other's bodies. Permanently. So now he's living her life.
I am in your body and you're in mine.
Well, Sam, I want my body back.
In her body, and she's living his, and neither can switch back. A body swap comedy with no escape hatch, no reset button, just 2 people stuck wearing each other for the rest of their lives. 7 episodes, and it vanished.
Look! Didn't that look great in the living room?
No.
Turns out audiences in 1979 weren't quite ready to watch that every Thursday. A cursed body swap is strange. A man and his chimpanzee best friend driving a big rig across America? That somehow ran for 3 seasons. BJ and the Bear, 1979. A handsome young trucker roams the highways of America, solving problems, getting into trouble, and outrunning crooked sheriffs.
My name's Deidre.
Deidre. It's a pretty name. You're a pretty lady. I'm BJ McKay.
His partner, his confidant, his co-pilot riding shotgun in the cab is a chimpanzee named Bear. That's it. That's the entire show. A man, a truck, and a chimp.
When witchcraft is practiced.
You're all about that, do you?
Harley? I know the devil's work.
And the wildest fact of all, it worked. 3 full seasons of a trucker and his primate buddy, week after week, while better shows with no chimps got canceled in 6. Never underestimate America's love for a man and his monkey.
Mr. Denby, I don't practice.
You are a witch. Do you deny that?
But BJ raised his chimp in a truck cab. Number 5 raised a feral child in the woods. And the parent was Bigfoot. Bigfoot and Wild Boy, 1977. From Sid and Marty Krofft, the masters of psychedelic Saturday morning nightmare fuel, comes the heartwarming tale of an orphaned feral boy raised in the Pacific Northwest wilderness by the legendary Bigfoot himself. Together, the boy and his giant hairy adoptive father become a crime-fighting duo, using Bigfoot's super strength and Wild Boy's jungle instincts to battle eco-villains, aliens, and the occasional earthquake-causing spaceship. The Bigfoot costume was reportedly so hot and miserable that the actor inside was basically being slow-cooked for our entertainment. And every kid who watched came away with the same lingering question they could never quite shake. Wait, why does Bigfoot have a child? A Saturday morning Bigfoot is cheap weird. Our top 4 are expensive weird, starting with the most lavishly catastrophic flop the decade ever produced. Supertrain, 1979. NBC was sinking, and somebody pitched the network its salvation. A nuclear-powered bullet train so enormous it had a swimming pool, a disco, a shopping mall, and a doctor's office on board. A love boat on rails, rocketing across America at nearly 200 miles an hour, with a new cast of glamorous guests and tangled romances every single week. It was the most expensive set ever built for television. The price tag was so staggering it would run into the tens of millions in today's money, for a show that lasted 9 episodes. And the detail that makes it perfect. The detail that should be carved on its tombstone. During filming, the giant model train they'd spent a fortune on actually crashed. The Supertrain derailed. Rebuilding the thing helped push NBC toward the edge of bankruptcy. To this day, when executives get too ambitious in a budget meeting, somebody mutters the word Supertrain, and the room goes quiet. The most expensive flop on the list couldn't stay on the rails. The next one couldn't decide if it was a cop or a comedy, decades before robot partners were cool. Holmes and Yo-Yo, 1976. A clumsy human detective gets partnered with a brand new secret weapon. An android cop who looks human but malfunctions constantly, popping circuits, printing receipts out of his hand, freezing mid-sentence, and generally falling apart at the worst possible moment.
I'm learning the proper way to park a car.
This isn't it.
Today, the human detective and his robot partner is a respectable, even cool premise. Hollywood's made a dozen slick versions. In 1976, it was a clattering slapstick joke, played entirely for laughs, decades before anyone thought a robot partner could be anything but ridiculous. It was ahead of its time and badly behind on execution, all at once.
The 23rd Precinct.
Which division?
The Bunko Squad.
How many years?
Bunko Squad.
Yes, the Bunko Squad. How many years?
Bunko Squad.
What's wrong, Doctor?
A glitching robot cop is strange, but it's nothing next to the 2 shows left, because now we reach the White Whale. The Legend. The show so reviled that a television station refused to even finish airing it. Turn On, 1969. This is the one. The myth every TV obsessive whispers about. Turn On was sold as the future of comedy. A fast, computerized sketch show, all rapid-fire blackouts, jarring sound effects, and bursts of electronic noise. Edited like a machine having a seizure. It was meant to be the next big thing. It was so off-putting, so genuinely unpleasant to sit through, that affiliates began revolting in real time. The legendary part, the part that sounds made up but isn't, is the Cleveland station that pulled Turn On off the air during the first commercial break of the very first episode. They never came back from the break. They simply refused to air the rest and filled the dead air with calm organ music while America sat confused in their living rooms. By the next day, stations across the country were dropping it. The sponsor fled, and Turn On earned the most exclusive title in broadcast history. The only show ever canceled in the middle of its own debut. 1 episode, half an episode really, then organ music and oblivion. It's the worst received show ever made. But it's not the worst idea ever made. For that, the undisputed, uncontested champion of What Were They Thinking, we have arrived at number 1. My Mother the Car, 1965. A man walks onto a used car lot, hears a voice calling his name, and discovers the unthinkable. His dead mother has been reincarnated as a 1928 Porter automobile. She speaks to him through the car radio.
No, Davy, you really heard something. It's me.
She nags him. She meddles in his marriage. She is, in every emotional sense, still his mother. Except now she has 4 wheels, a horn, and a top speed.
Well, just don't sit there with your mouth hanging open. Say hello.
Hello, Mother. Mother?
Read that again. A man's deceased mother comes back to life as a car, and the entire show is about him caring for, arguing with, and protecting his automotive mom from anyone who wants to buy or scrap her. It is, by near universal agreement among critics and historians, the worst television concept ever greenlit. The gold standard, the measuring stick, the show every other terrible idea gets compared to and quietly beats. And yet it got made. Somebody pitched it. Somebody approved it.
I'm your wife.
I know.
And I love you.
And I love you too, honey.
Somebody filmed an entire season of a man talking to his mother's grill. And honestly, that's the whole reason we made this list. Because shows like these don't get made anymore. No algorithm would suggest them, no focus group would survive them, no executive would dare. They were the gloriously stupid, fearless, anything goes swings of an era that hadn't yet learned to be careful. And we are never getting them back. So that's the 20 weirdest shows of the 60s and 70s that should never have existed, and yet somehow did. Now the real question, how many did you remember? Drop your number in the comments, and no lying, we talked about this. 0 to 4, you're a tourist. 5 to 10, you were there, on the carpet, in the pajamas. 11 or more, you don't just remember 70s television, you are a survivor of it, and you should probably be studied.